All right. Let's see. All right. Can everybody see my screen okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, hey, thanks for joining us, everybody. One thing during these calls, they are recorded. So if you can mute your device, I don't hear any background noise right now, but just in case, because a lot of people could be doing an event today, they could be out in meetings and they want to play this recording later, and it'll really help us with background noise. But thank you for joining us. This is going to be a fun call. The purpose of these calls, we just opened up the Midwest initially, and you're talking about Wisconsin, Michigan, Illinois, Ohio, and Indiana. And really is like a region that we hadn't been in, right? And so many of the other regions were having pretty enormous success. So as they've came in and they've gone through training and just got started and started presenting the hero courses, I had the unique opportunity to train for the first time in years. And really, to be honest, I'd rather do this than any of the duties that I have to do in my position. I love this part. I love being on course. I love relationships. I love going and closing hero courses. Oh my gosh, it's I have more fun doing that than anything. I get to sit with professional people and talk about our veterans and our programs and how we can market them and on and on. So these calls, the way we've really structured this, is to make sure that we share best practices. Here's the deal. You could come into a job opportunity, best sport in the world, most affluent sport in the world, golf. I mean, what an office. Building relationships, doing what you love, but at the same time, it's an enormous income opportunity. But that income opportunity is only going to become a reality if you're really good at getting started and building it. So the whole goal of this is we've spent a couple weeks in these trainings. How do you get started? How do you present to a hero course? How do you lay out your presentation deck? Once you do that, how do you do your first hero day? How do you follow up? How do you white label in to get all of the tournaments? You guys know the stats. It might be a little redundant for you if you're new. I'll just say them again. You've got over a million charity golf tournaments in the United States, over 200,000 corporate outings. Since 2020, golf courses have grown from 15,500 to approximately 17,000. But to go after 17,000 courses that host all of those events is a much better business plan than to try to talk one on one to 1.2 million different outings. That's quite a task, no matter how big your team or call center is. That's virtually impossible. And so we found a way to take all of our programs and really provide great benefits to our veterans, our first responders, create the relationship with the golf course. They host all the outings. You've got a heck of a business opportunity that will create financial independence and freedom of time and give you what you were looking for. You applied for this position to do what we're talking about, but also a massive situation in this is getting you making the money and beyond what you expected. So that's really what today's about. I want to kind of go through. We already have people that have started maybe a week or two ago. We have people that came out of training yesterday. And so we've got quite a wide variety here of people that need to go through some training. So first, when we are going out to hero courses, I just want to go back through Q&A and best practices on that particular situation and see if any of you have questions. When you're walking out and you're talking about a hero course and you're presenting to them, we've gone through how to lay out your book. You show this stat first. Once you show this stat, you're going to go into the hero presentation. Are there any questions that you have for me now that you've gone to courses and you've started to experience this? Anybody?
Yeah, Jay. I've had a few pros, they listen to you. And even though I am a PGA pro, I'm amazed at some of their reactions. Like the guy I just before we started the call yesterday, he says, well, we got a bad taste in our mouth with third party stuff. Well, it's not one of
Mhm.
the bigger golf courses that, I would put it in the lower to mid range of the public courses around. But, and I ask him who and et cetera. But I think some of them are afraid of that there's some work that they're going to have to do. And that's what I reiterated to a guy at a private club this morning, that it is not, no expense to the charity, and no, not to you. Your staff doesn't have to do anything but give me a card to get out there. Um, so I just think the more we stress that to a golf pro, because golf pros is, I was one at a club and they got so many things they got to do with many hats that, we just got to get in, um, and I kept reiterating no expense to the charity. And so they're asking me to send them the deck that I showed them, basically. Um,
Okay.
I mean, how do you deal with that when you get that situation?
You know what I do? And this is a meeting in person, Rich.
Yes.
You know what I do? I take my presentation book in color like this on my screen, but then I take black and whites with me and just simple printouts. I have 30 of them in my briefcase, and I just turn around and say, here, and I hand it to them. And
Okay.
so they have a copy. They can always refer back to it. Even if they are a hero course, I say, thank you so much. Here's my card. Here's the contact. I booked the first hero day, and I hand it to them. So just in case they think, how much was that hole in one? What percentage do we get for that closest to the pin? It's all right here. And I
Yeah.
just give it to them in black and white because they just want to refer to it. 90% of them might put it in the circular file. But at least if they do want to, how do we market them? All the answers will be provided as they look back at this.
Yeah, for sure.
So, really good question. I think that a best practice that you just shared is important. We don't need, if you put anything on a director of golf, a head golf pro, a GM of a golf course, if you add it to their plate, if you're trying to call into the pro shop and set a meeting with them, it's difficult. If I walk in, apologize for being unannounced, but I just want to introduce myself, set an appointment, so much more successful.
Yeah.
And then you're right. Make sure that as we take them through all of this and they gain total clear understanding of who and what we are and what we do, um, then I make sure that they also understand we don't need any help. We can market you. We're going to drive traffic to you, new business, repeat business. We're going to drive finances to you at full value in your gift certificates. We're going to promote you as supporting our veterans. And I can't thank you enough. And my favorite sentence, once they get all through it and they've sat there and they're engaged and they're thinking, should I do this? Should I not? And I love to turn to them, Rich, and everybody, and say, you know what? With all the wonderful things we've provided that I've explained in the last 10, 15 minutes, it's only possible if the relationships with you, and it's dependent upon you saying yes. And it puts them really in that position where, why would you say no? It's free, it's marketing, it's money, it's value, it's supporting the right cause. It's great for your people. They have a free hole in one that you weren't going to have on a regular play day. We're giving away trips, incentives. I mean, it's all upside if they grasp it well enough. And then, like Rich just said, we don't need anything, nothing. We're self contained. We'll come out. Let's go ahead and pick the first date. If they were a little bit apprehensive, and like you mentioned, I think somebody came out from Wounded Warriors and they stole all the money, which I doubt if that happened, but not who knows? Maybe that's possible. But on those situations, I went to a course one time with Rich Klipka. I met him at Hilton Head, and I walked into a gym. I'll just give you a little story of how it flips. I walked in and said, "We're with the Hero program, and I'd like to meet with the director of golf or the GM." He said, "Well, I am the director of golf, and you're not welcome here." Well, that's a quick, tough start, you know. And I said, "Okay, I understand. Can you tell me why? I don't understand. You've been in here, you've done this, you've done that. You guys didn't pay my people." I said, "Okay, I'm really sorry, but explain the program because we've never been to Hilton Head." This is the first time we've ever set up a course. Oh, you come out and you do X, Y, Z, and it wasn't us. And I said, you know what? I completely understand. I want to agree with him. I want him to be comfortable. I want to build a rapport. And so I said, I completely understand the position you were put in. That's horrific. Our reputation's stellar. This is who we are. This is the way we do it. And I only need a couple minutes of your time if you wouldn't mind listening. He turned to me and he said, Rich might recall this. I think I did it on my own at that course and we divided up. But he said, okay, we'll go in my office. You have 2 minutes of my time. I was in his office for well over an hour, walked out there, hero course. That was that dolphin one, Rich. Hero course, did dates out there, raised good money, but it's just misunderstanding. And you know what? When I go in, I don't want to combat if somebody has something negative. You know, you get that cat and mouse, and then it becomes a little adversarial. I don't like that. I just turn around and say, I can't thank you enough. How long have you been a GM here? What happened on that program again? I let him rant and rave, rah, 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 rah. And then I start to explain. Then he turns to me, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, that wasn't you. Okay. And they said, well, I still don't know if I want to have somebody do it again. And so I reassure him and walk him through, and we're professional. And this is our team. Let us come one day. It's all upside for you. I'll market you indefinitely, even if you cut us off. Let us come one day and prove it to you because you'll never question what we do again. We're the best in the country at what we do, and I'd like to show you. Long story short, that's how we closed it. But I think as we talked in the first couple weeks trainings, this is as much about the relationship building process is it as it is about what we provide. Doing veterans, supporting these causes that you see on my screen, so important. But really, the golf course is about the relationship. What's in it for them? Because we could be there for child trafficking, we could be there for cancer, we could be there for strokes, heart disease. I mean, we could go so many directions, right? Leukemia, ALS, on and all these great causes. All of them are important, every single last one of them. But how many people walk in and when they walk out of that meeting, they know the GM, they know how he came up, they know. I've walked into meetings where a GM's told me, I started in the cart barn. I started at the bottom. After I did that, I went and picked the range. After I did that, I went and I was in the pro shop and I only got paid minimum wage and on and on. And he tells me his whole story about his life. That's what I want. That's the conversation I want. So I try to say, oh my gosh. And I do genuinely care. That's incredible. And you're at the top. Well, there's not one facet of your industry that you don't understand. That's probably the best way to start. You could actually, really make an impact on your golf course because you've been at every level. And then he's absolutely, and he's talking, let me tell you what we can do because it's only upside for you. And at the end of the day, if you build a strong relationship, more than any other comment I get, for some reason, no matter what part of the country I'm in, they say this is a no-brainer. Just for some reason, that phrase seems to come out a lot. This is a no-brainer. And I said, I completely agree. That's why I wanted to show it to you. It's not our inability to get in. It's simply just showing people the opportunity that they have and how well it works for both sides. It's truly a win-win. I just needed 15 minutes of your time. And you're right. Basically, everybody says yes. And so those are good teaching moments. It's what we've talked about. If you're new on this call, the last few weeks, this is really about setting a schedule, being prepared, watch the videos on how we present so you become more unconsciously competent at this, and then going in and building a rapport. If you know golf, it's a great advantage for you. If you don't know golf, we have people that, we had our number one producer last year nationwide. She started with us. She had never played golf in her life. And so what you need to be great at, that's a huge advantage to know golf, or not a huge, it's an advantage. But what matters is your social skills and your willingness to be a great listener, build a strong rapport, genuinely care about the person you're talking to, understand their needs. The golf course can support anything they want. You're marketing them. You're making that GM's, what's he responsible for? Revenue, net revenue. It's free. It takes, like Rich said, it doesn't take extra work. We're driving traffic to him, even the hole in ones. It's only upside. If they grasp that, you'll close hero courses. That opens up. I can't wait to get the next conversation on my Nevada trip because that opens up all of the doors. And so, anybody else have something to add, to share? Let's pretend you just, Rich, you've been in the golf industry forever. Rich Way and Rich Klipka, you've run the whole East Coast. But does anybody else have anything to share that might help somebody starting yesterday that perhaps I'm leaving out?
Uh, I will. I made a phone call to our Indiana section of the PGA because obviously I'm a member, but I'm trying to get in to see Mike because they have an Indiana Golf Foundation. If I can get them, because one of the pros who's on the board I visited said, "Have you talked to Mike about this yet?" And I said, "No." So I'm going to talk to him because if he likes it, man, I think the gateway is going to open. And to drive that, so have you ever had anybody going to the section offices of the PGA in their states?
We have, I attended a unique meeting, and we have a gentleman that is in San Diego County, and they had their PGA meeting, all the golf course. I don't know the proper terminology for that meeting, but it had all of the people that ran the golf courses in that section in San Diego at that breakfast meeting. And we went to that and we got a booth and we went up and we got up and talked. How valuable was that? Then you turn around and all of a sudden you've got all these golf course GMs feeding off of each other, and you have somebody on the committee saying, what a great thing that would be. Why aren't we all doing that? Well, now you've got 30 of them sitting there. So maybe not quite like you're talking, but along those lines we've tried. And I think Rich Klipka's been in quite a few meetings like with PGA Hope, and he's done some things that I think most of us haven't.
Now, is
Yeah,
PGA Hope that on our last page there, it shows Philadelphia and New Jersey section. I mean, is that really nationwide for those PGA Reach and Hope, or is it section wide?
It's section wide, and we do individual sections with the hope that and we're in deep communication, that as we've done a great job for them, that they can get it to corporate and just saying, why have them jump hoops in Northern Cal, Central Cal, Southern Cal, on and on and on? Why don't we just make a recommendation nationwide? That's
just
what
an
we're.
update. I'm sorry, just an
Yes,
update, Jay. I don't know if you've seen this yet,
I did.
but okay, with Chris and Ari, the New Jersey Golf Foundation has included us in their annual report that will be going corporately. They are going to share the section with Jay and I next week, tentatively, to review it. And they've been a very big proponent of helping us reach out nationwide. Sometimes things don't move as quickly as we like, but the New Jersey section has been very supportive and understanding of what we do and helping us through challenges, as well as obviously us supporting the PGA Hope program, as has the Philadelphia section. Actually, next week, we are meeting with the New England section, which is huge. We met with them at the end of last season, opened up discussions again this year. Our New England rep, Craig Coombs, is actually a PGA pro himself, who's finishing up his training to be a PGA Hope instructor in the program. So yes, we've been targeting the regions, but we're hopefully going to be able to take that to the next step and reach out nationally. So obviously, after Jay and I meet with New Jersey, review their annual report and how we fit in, we will begin to discuss next steps with them. So hopefully we'll have some exciting news in the near future.
I appreciate that, Rich. And Rich really started the whole situation of talking to PGA Hope. We started with For the Fallen and people that we knew personally. And Rich has put this together and he's done a phenomenal job. So thank you, Rich, for that. Great update.
Hey, Jay.
Yes. Hey,
I
David.
just want to go back to this thing with the presenting to the golf courses, because the foundation of everything that we're doing is through the Hero program and our relationship with these golf courses. On my team call, I laid out one golf course. I laid it all out. One golf course can be $250,000 income. And it's true.
It
One
is.
golf course relationship and how that feeds and where it goes can generate $250,000. Well, so this monumental moment of walking into these golf courses to talk about the Hero program, it's everything. And I think Jay and Rich and then Chris would admit we seem to have a stall here with some new people that come on board. And there's really no reason, there's no logic to it, only maybe fear of doing something they've never done before, fear of maybe talking to a boss. Okay, maybe they're not used to doing that in this capacity. Fear of rejection. Well, what if they tell me no? But what I try to tell my team is it's 100% no if you don't walk through the door. Why don't you increase your odds a bit? Okay. And the other saying we have it on my team is this: listen, put the program in a position to win, and then don't be surprised when it does. The program stands on its own. You can go in and basically flub up the whole presentation, but if you get the gist out of how it works and how great it is for not only our heroes, but for the golfers that are there, and of course the golf course, why would they say no? And they won't. They won't say no. But one last thing, Jay, and then you can go. But if you're having trouble walking through that, now once you do this 3, 4, 5 times, you'll be a pro.
Right.
You'll get it. And once you've done hero days, and then you can relate exactly what happens out on the golf course to these bosses, that's totally different. Because then because they'll say, well, does it slow down? No. Well, are you bugging people? No. Okay. Because you've been out there, you understand how it goes. But in the beginning, if you have any hesitation on walking through those doors of the golf course, I would put this on your shoulders as you walk in. It's not just you. It's not just you. It's millions of heroes that are dying, that are on your shoulders when you walk through that door. You think that's too much? I don't. That's what you're carrying in that front door. That's what we're there for. That's how serious this is. Okay. And I feel that if you do that and you understand the responsibility that we have to these heroes, and this is our way of helping, go do it and see what happens. So anyway, thank you, Jay.
You know what, David? David's amazing. He builds great teams. He's phenomenal at what he does. He runs the Plain States and most of through the Gulf states. And so thank you for that. Really appreciate it. I want to show you guys something and kind of get into this trip. So we know in the first few trainings, if you're brand new, we're going to send out those first couple weeks because they're pretty methodical on how to put together your presentation book and get started. What I really want to get into is what happened. In my position, I'm always doing different things. I'm in meetings with, it could be For the Fallen, it could be Rich Klipka, David Wills. I'm in meetings with insurance companies and kind of a lot of tedious things, right? And I love my life, but this is what I love. So rarely do I get a chance when not only can I train people and go open up an area, which I love most. If I only did this, oh my gosh, I would I don't know, I would just prefer it. And so I was able to go to Vegas and Nevada and go talk to courses and talk to people and create things, go out and do a demo day. When was the last time I did a demo day? I was able to go out and do a hero day. And you need to stay fresh on what you're doing to make sure what you're teaching is the best practice. Is that the best way? Is that the way our team is going to have the most success? So quickly, I'm going to highlight, you see in the second bullet point, Las Vegas Strip Roads Ranch. And I'm with our COO was there as well. And I'll tell you, this is amazing. So we go in, there's a gentleman there that runs Rhodes Ranch. His name's Chad. Well, I don't really know Chad. I met him one other time when I was there on a trip, but we're really now going to run with this in that area and just basically just take over all that area. So I'm meeting with Chad, and first and foremost, what's the key? It's the relationship. So all I talked about, he's a big guy and he's a veteran. So we start talking about his experience, his past. He wanted to talk about what's going on in the world. I sat and listened to his points of views. And actually, if we weren't on the same point of view, I would have listened and probably just not responded a whole lot. But we're on the exact same point of view about most things in life. So we started talking more and more. And then he said, back in 2008, I made it to the World Long Drive finals. I was in the Remax World Long Drive. Like, oh my gosh, you're kidding me. So we start talking about crank golf. He goes, oh my gosh, crank golf. That's the driver. That's, you guys win every. And so in other words, here I am meeting with him. But again, it's the relationship first. It's not our hero program first. It's not what I'm going to do there first. It's Chad first. Once that relationship was solidified, what did Chad want me to do? I wanted to go do a hero day. What does Chad want me to do? Chad says to me, I want you to go do a demo day. Okay, I'll do that. And he said, hey, I want you to do it from 9 to noon. All right, I'll do that. So we set up on a hero day, but I go do a demo day first. So I go out there and I do the demo day, but I just want to tell you how great this went. Relationship, we came like brothers. We talked about so many things. I mean, he kept coming out, hitting my fist with his, and he's a big old boy. He's like 280. And, his hands are like he's a cement worker. And then he came out to the hole and he said, I want to hear your presentation when I was doing the demo day. But he turns around, and now remember, Vegas is hot. It's like going into Palm Springs, Palm Desert, Phoenix, Arizona. We're about done with their season. Their season's October through May, unlike, say, the Midwest, would be the exact opposite, right? And so his season's about done. But meeting him that day, I walk out, do a demo day. I sell drivers. So now let's say I'm somebody on our team. So you're making a couple $100 a driver. So you make in 3 hours, $400. I sold 2 drivers and a 3-wood. And so now you're up $400 or $500, and you did what that person asked you to do. Come back in. He says, I got a tournament coming up. It's just our hot season, but this is a huge tournament. I need you in it. Book the tournament. I said, hey, your season's winding down. I would like 2 more hero days. You have a lot of in and out play. Tell me about your play. It's you go through like a gate to get in, but it's actually a public course. You can join, so semi-private. You can join and be a member, but they also have outside play nonstop. So he wants us to market him, and we talk all about that of course. But so now I've sold drivers that day and fairway wood, but all hero. I booked 2 more hero days coming up back-to-back weeks. I book a tournament. We talk about white labeling. He loves crank golf. We've white labeled the par 5. So I talk about, Chad, we do so much more. It's not your responsibility to do any of this, but you're telling me that you want tournaments at your course. Tell me about how familiar are you with great banquet programs? Because there aren't any. Not to raise money. He goes, I don't know of any. I've been in this forever. So I said, I'll do Cancun. Let's white label in Cancun at your banquets. And of course, I know the hero driver and I know online fundraising and all of that, but I'll do that with the charity. I want something where Chad just simply has a flyer, going to give out tens of thousands of dollars of trips to the charity while raising money for them in 10 minutes. Pretty simple one. And so we white labeled in the Par 5 and Cancun. This is all in the same day. Then we turn around and I go to go out and I'm going to go over and do the hero side. And initially it's going okay, right? So, and we're talking about how do we do it better? And so in a minute after this point, I'm gonna get into the presentation and how we changed it. And oh my gosh, what a home run. But so we go out there and we do the hero day and it goes well. And I come back in. Well, I want to hang out with Chad. I want that relationship forever. And then I want Chad to tell me what golf courses do his buddies run? Where did he come from? Where do I go next on my trip? So I go back in and we do all of that. So we've got hero days booked. We did a hero day. We have demo days. We have his tournaments. We booked a tournament. We white labeled in 2 programs. He said he'll put in every tournament that's ever done there. And then he turns to me and he brings the other guy in. I'm trying to remember his name. I wish I had his card here on where I'm sitting.
Matthew. It was Matthew.
Matthew. So Matthew comes across. And they said, let's talk about wholesale. We should carry crank. Remember, in green grass, they're lucky to make $75. So not only do we do all that, thank you, by the way, then we set up a wholesale account. All in the same day. What David just said, $250,000. I'll tell you what, they run 40, 50 events and you're going to white label in 2 and you haven't even done your player package and your Par 3 and you're going to do hero days and you're going to be doing banquet programs. David's evaluation of what happens at a singular course potentially is highly accurate. Very, very accurate. If you have 5 to 10 courses doing that and your team's covering it, you are making 6 figures. You're flying. It's not that complex. It's intimately understanding the advantages of what we do and what we can provide. Our wholesale, Lance doesn't even want to do wholesale. He doesn't want them. He wants direct sales worldwide, Crank Golf. We'll do it. And I'll tell you what, I'm an owner of Crank, but we're not going to compete with Crank. We're going to do hero only. I don't want somebody that is a wholesale account. See, Lance wants to be able to Crank Golf, market whatever he wants when he wants. That's fine. That's his model. That's how he survived and got to where he is today. And we have one heck of a product. Tell you what, the whole time we were there, we're going crazy for DeChambeau. You know, hang in there, buddy. It was big for us that he was in the top 10. It was big for us that in the first 2 days, nobody has ever in pro golf gained an entire stroke against the field off the tee. First time in the history of any major ever in the world because of our driver. He hit a ball 395s when everybody else is hitting at 315. 395. The next day he hit it 385, same hole. Horrible conditions with wind. But anyway, so it just kind of shows it's the relationship, build it, and we're so diverse. Now, not only we're talking about you've got a wholesale account. Let me explain this too. If you do a wholesale account, which we don't promote, but Chad wanted it, I'm just going to do it really simple. Only carry hero. Don't compete with Crank Golf because they send out emails with discounts. We don't discount the hero driver. It is the best version of any driver. It's the hardest to make. It's the best finish. It's the best driver, period, in the subject. It's like if Scotty Cameron has different putters, but some still cost more, but they're all Scotty Camerons with great milling process. But some are higher end, even though it's all Scotty Cameron. That's our hero driver. So only carry, if you want a retail account, only do hero. You'll never have somebody say, but I got an email and I went on this website and you'll never have to worry about discounted rates. You'll be able to protect your pricing. They get it at $349. Retail's at $699. said, Chad, sell it for what you want. It's your store. We don't do retail. If he takes 150 off 699, he's at what, 549. If he's at 549, he's making $200 a driver. He's lucky to make 70, 75 on anything in a green grass pro shop. He told me, said, yeah, your margins, Jay, that's not even close. That's phenomenal. And your driver, when they go hit it on the range, is going to blow by. He came out and hit ours. He was like, oh my gosh, this is stupid. And so he's super happy. And the way we're going to pay is really simple, guys. 10%. There's not some hierarchy. If you set up a retail account, which again, we don't do, but if you want to, we'll back it. Hero only. They can carry it. They prepay $349. It's their world. You're paid 10% of every single order in perpetuity for your account permanently. Chad orders $5,000 worth of drivers, made $500. As they sell through month or year or 6 months or 3 months or quarterly, whatever, over and over and over all the years, every single order you're paid in perpetuity to your account. So
Okay.
that's the way we'll do wholesale.
How does he order those through the rep, us? Okay.
Yes. Yes. You know what, Rich? Great question. We will develop a job form for wholesale because we don't do it. And if it wasn't for Chad asking, we still wouldn't. And so we'll have that form to you right away. So initially, if you have somebody, you're so connected, go ahead and do it through you, but we will create where they can follow up and order. So now they can turn around and get with us, and Chad can say through corporate, instead of trying to get a hold of me, he can say, hey, look, I need 6 more right-handed 9 pros, whatever. And as they order, it'll be tracked through you as you being the person that initiated the account.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. So now with all this said, we've got our CO out there doing the Hero Day. And I hope don't mind me sharing this. And she's phenomenal at charity golf tournaments. Doesn't care as much about, doesn't prefer Hero Days. I prefer Hero Days. I prefer all of it. It's kind of all the same to me. But so through talking, you're out there and we're getting into the third bullet point now. How do you maximize what you fundraise for our heroes using incentives on the course during your presentation? So we have a current presentation and we have one that was just tried. And oh my gosh, even after all this time, we tried something new and what a huge different result. Currently, you go out there, a group pulls up, and you can play the videos on the portal. You're walking up and you're saying, hey guys, how you doing? How's your round? You may have heard of us. We're with the Hero Program, or nationwide. We support our veterans and first responders with prosthetics, service dogs, PTSD to prevent suicide, even the children if somebody falls in action. And we're the largest at golf courses in the United States. So here at Rhodes Ranch today, they are now a hero course backing our veterans and our first responders. So here's the way it works. Really simple. No obligation on your side, no donation required of any kind. You're in a hole in one. If you play your normal tee box. We're not asking you to play back. If you make the hole in one from whatever tee box you're currently playing, it's $1,000 in the form of a gift certificate to use at this golf course at Rhodes Ranch. There's also a closest to the pin. You can see it on the course. Let's say, I think all day long, nobody got really close. It was quite windy. It was probably a good 20 feet, actually. It was a tough hole. Water, wind blowing left to right, tough hole. And so if you get the closest to the pin, it's going to be worth 10% of what we raise. That's going to be somewhere from $100 to well above on whoever wins that. And then, of course, we are out here raising money to support our veterans and our first responders. And so I want to tell you about an incentive that we have. The current presentation would be to say, if you donate $50, you get this robust savings pass, and we show them what that looks like. Let me see if I can find it here. We show them what that looks like on that's Cancun. We have it where we actually have it on a banner. But anyway, we have it on a banner, and on that banner, it'll show like the savings pass. Oh, I took it off because we changed it. And if you donate $50 or more, 1.7 million businesses, you're trying to hustle, right? You need to say this and get them up and prepared to do what they're going to do while the group in front of them is chipping and putting out on the green because you can't slow down play. If you donate 100 or more, we have a great incentive, 5 days, 4 nights to Cancun, phenomenal stay. You have 5 resorts to pick from, 4 and 5 star, unbelievable. And we actually will show you frequently asked questions and what the guidelines are. But the bottom line is $100, you're getting a stay that's valued up to $2,800, depending on the date that you go. And there's no blackout dates, there's no timeshare, on and on. That's normally the presentation. Why do people do better at a charity golf tournament? Why do some people raise a lot more money on a hero day than someone else? And then we say any donations welcome, and we're here to raise as much as we possibly can for the people that afford all of us to be here. New presentation. And then what we get to now is getting into how we've changed this. The new presentation is you greet the group, you talk about our cause, we're nationwide, you're in these contests. This is what we support our veterans and first responders with. And then I hammered the suicide rate. I said, as all of you know, you need that emotional tie. In the last 20 years, we've lost approximately 5,200 people in action. Horrific stat, fighting for our freedom. So many people have sacrificed all, and some have sacrificed a lot outside of death. But in the same time, shocking. Do you know, in the last 20 years, with non-reporting states, the stats actually well over 130,000 have committed suicide from the position we've put them in. We need to help. We need to help. And I'll tell you what, with everything I just told you, this is how we're going to help. Golfers are competitive. Let's have some fun. You know what we're going to do? We're asking for $25 from each one of you. You have a foursome. It's only $100. We have an incentive that's Cancun that's unbelievable. That is an amazing stay at these resorts. One of the 4 of you is going to win. It's $100. It doesn't matter if you miss the green. You guys are only donating $100 to help the people that protect our freedom and allow us to be here today, afford us this life. And it's only $100, and one of you are going to win this stay. The first time I pitched that was Saturday, presented that. You know what happened? Exactly what we thought would happen. Not only did they do the 100, but one person won. What happens to his friends? I want that. We went 200, 300, 120. One guy won, one guy gave us $20. 100, 300, 200. Murdered it. Because it wasn't just now where people are walking up saying, I'll support your cause. Here you go, $10. Here's $20. Here's $5. They know that we're having a contest. They're competitive. They're in a hole-in-one. They're in a KP. They're supporting our veterans. And somebody's going to get a trip valued up to $2,800 a stay. Unbelievable. Every group started doing it. And then we turned around and I had a threesome. as the second one we presented to. His two friends said, they all hit. This guy wins. He's celebrating. He was the closest. We're going. They walked right back over. Now we're at 300. I tell you what, it changed everything. Everything. We do pretty well. We average $1,500 to $2,000 doing what we did. We moved in 2.5 hours in less than 50 people, 40 something people, raised over $2,000, gave away 7 savings passes, 13 more Cancuns. Can you imagine if we saw the 209 people that were scheduled that day? Just run those numbers. You're at $6,000. Run what you're paid on that. All of a sudden, if you could start producing, not only are we helping our people more, our veterans, our service dogs, $35,000. And I tell everybody that. But now you're raising a lot of money, and not only are you helping people, we need that money to help them. First and foremost, the KP's more money. The golf course makes more money. They're happier. Everybody's happier. Now you've got your income skyrockets. Start bringing in 4,000 instead of 1,500. Big gap. So I was really excited to share this because it wasn't one group stood there for the next 2.5 hours. It was group after group after group. They're all different. People pulled up that were 30 years old. They paid. People pulled up that were more my age. They're in their 60s. They entered the contest. We had gentlemen walk up and say, hey, I get all that $100. He didn't care if he may not want to go to Cancun, but if he won it in his group, he could give it to somebody that did. It changed us from raising prior in the day. We would get $30, $60, $20. We started getting 200, 300, 120, 200. Massive difference. So I think what changed was we told them what we expected in price. And for a great cause, who doesn't have $25? You broke it down to its simplest form. Now they're not entering into a raffle and getting lucky to win. One of the 4 is going to win. It is a high value item and it's transferable. Well, none of us go to Canton. They can give it to anybody they want. It's transferable. So it opened it up. And then what I was hoping would happen did. If I'm playing with, I can see Rich on this call, Rich Waite. If he wins, I want to go. $2,800. So I walked over and handed the $100 again. I want to go too. And that's exactly what took place, guys. It was exciting. It was fun. Everybody was cheering. They're yelling, we're going to Cancun. They were all going together. They would, if they knew the group behind them, they would tell us, let them know we all did it. They need to go with us. Tell them our names. Tell them this is what happened. And it just got so fun. It was actually the most fun day I've ever had doing a Hero Day, ever. And I like Hero Days, but it got really exciting immediately from the very first time we changed to make it into a contest. Does that make sense to everybody?
Absolutely.
What's that?
I said, absolutely, Jay. That's awesome.
Yep.
Oh, good. So, and does anybody need for me to kind of go back and explain it again, or you got it? You
Jay, can
have
I
a
ask
pretty
a
good
question?
grasp of this. Got it?
Jay,
Okay.
can I ask a question?
Yes, please do.
So if you're I equate it to upselling in a restaurant, yeah, when you do the Cancun and that was your pitch, do they automatically with the Cancun trip get the pass as well, or is that something separate? So can you talk about how that plays in? Because at the lower end for a donation, they get access to the pass But if you're going to the highest end, the Cancun trip, is that automatically part of it? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. This is the way it kind of played out, Kirk. I went to Cancun just because it was a lot to say. So I went to Cancun in the contest, and one of the four is going to win. And for the first time at Hero Day, I stopped explaining the savings pass on that presentation, but it's on my banner. They can see it and they can see everything on it. So what happened was I ended up with 7 savings passes where somebody would say, I want to buy Cancun, here's $100. And another person would walk up and hand me a $50 bill, for example. Say, oh my gosh, you get the savings pass. But the $100 for the group was for Cancun. It would need to be $50 outside of that to get the savings pass. And I ended up with 7 savings passes and 14 Cancuns in a very, very short period of time. So you know what happens is you can say too much and lose people, even though you have a great thing. So really what I got to was more Rhodes Ranch is a hero course. This is what we do for our veterans. This is amazing. Hole in one, closest to the pin. And then I talked about what we support, why we support it, the suicide rate, how horrific it is, because it is. People are in shock. We all know 22 a day. Do people really understand 130,000 in 20 years? 5,000 in action, 130,000? It hits home and you see their eyes change and they look at you like, what? And it sickens them and they want to help. Then I say, hey, we're competitive. We are going to help. All I'm asking is for $25 from each one of you. And this is what you get. Oh my gosh, they all did it. They all did it. And I was thinking, if I heard that, what would I do? I'd definitely do it. And so that's kind of it. The savings pass, to answer your question, really became secondary to present. And just because I needed something to get to that $100 and more. And we started raising 200 and 300. So that's kind of the way it played out. And there will be a better way to do it as well. I'm just trying to figure out how to do that.
Hey, Jay, can you answer too why when I read through the things, did they take that off about being 30 years old to be able to do the Cancun?
Yeah, now they've actually got it. I think is it 20, 28, 27? Here's the deal though.
There
We
it is. It's at the
also have
bottom.
what's that?
It was at the bottom of your frequently questions there. There it is. The last one. What is the trip value?
Oh, 30 to 70.
Yeah.
We do though. They are not stopping us when people are 26 and we call them. They will make exceptions for us because of the magnitude of what we're doing. What they're trying to prevent is somebody still in college going there, screwing around, partying, and probably will never go there again. They want them to visit their resorts, so they continue to visit their resorts. So they're trying to pick that qualified income age, but we also have people over 70 go as well. That's just their wheelhouse, and we need to show people this. But I've also called them and had people 25, and they say no problem.
Have you had people that see you at another event or so if I donate $100 and get Cancun, if I'm a player and I renew next year and donate 100, would I get Cancun again? Could I make it a yearly contribution and get a trip every year? Like every year I want to take my vacation and I love this resort. I want to go back again.
You know what? I think that's Rich. What a great question. I have never asked Cancun that because we just started it a little over a year ago. My assumption is yes, because you could they probably say pick a different resort. Maybe, I don't know, in Cancun, but I will absolutely ask that question and get the answer. It's so new to us doing this that hasn't come up yet. But they've never also told me, let's say I saw somebody a month ago and they said, oh, I did that over there. We've never stopped them from doing it again. They can also transfer and bring friends. So I'll ask that question, Rich. That's a really good question. Unless somebody else on this call already knows the answer. but I don't know that answer.
Yeah, Jay, I was gonna ask if you wanted me to chime in on that.
Yes, please.
I believe it's a one-time deal. If you go there one time, I don't think they let you come back, but we'll certainly look into it, but that's just my understanding. It's one time.
Okay.
Even if it's
So
the
really
next,
it would be they could transfer it to somebody else to be able to go do.
Sure, sure can.
however,
Okay.
what happens if I played in the same event the following year and I did it again?
Right, I understand what you're saying. It's
Yeah.
Cancun's not attached to our events, so they don't know if we're having them or not. It's irrelevant to them. It's just who has come, registered through their system, already seen the resorts. It's, at that point, then they're like, okay, well, you need to pay to come here. That's why we gave it to you for $100, that kind of thing. But we'll
Sure.
check for sure.
Cool. Thank you.
One other thing, Rich, not to let any cat out of the bag, but we are also, and they are adding other areas. So we're trying to add the United States, different cities, different other options. And actually, we're in a meeting in Vegas. It'll take a few months to consummate, but we have some other big time options that we're working on currently. Because Cancun has driven up our contributions through the roof. And we want to continue that by allowing people other opportunities. Maybe they don't want to go to Cancun.
Yeah.
Maybe they want to go to Las Vegas or New York or Los Angeles, wherever. So we
Hollywood.
are in the middle of doing that.
Sure.
JS, Eric, I have a quick question. How is the four people, if all four of them donate $25, how is the winner selected out of those four?
So what you do is it's a contest, right? So Eric, your
Yeah.
foursome pulls up. And when I get done explaining everything, then I turn and say, guys, here's what we're doing today. We're all competitive and we all want to support the people that protect our freedom. That's why we're here. So here's what I need. Just $25 from each of you. Venmo, credit card, cash, whatever. $25 each. We're going to have a little contest. Your foursomes then's going to hit from your appropriate tee box, wherever you're currently hitting all day long. Whoever comes the closest, even if you don't hit the green, whoever comes the closest is going to get a Cancun trip valued up to $2,800 in a stay. You need to fly there. There's some minimal resort fees. I'm going to have you take a picture of this. Unbelievable. And the reason why it's so inexpensive and such a great opportunity for you is because they're backing our veteran program. We did over 5,000 trips last year. And they're like, oh my gosh. So here's the deal, Eric. $100 for the foursome. One of them's going to win. That's $100. Your donation's $100. One
That's
of them's
awesome.
going to get it. But what that does, then they turn around and say, oh my gosh, Eric, you won. Rich and I want to go too. Now you got 300. That happened group after group after group.
Now, Jay, do you leave the closest to the pin marker on a hero day on the side of the green with the measuring? I've got the big handled tape, or are you just leaving the sign there and they add their name to it and just move it?
Both. If you have the handle and you have the measuring, that's great. It's actually better because you're also not staring at something. If somebody hit it to 18 inches, how in the world am I going to get inside that? You don't know where it is till you drive up. And it's more professional. It's out on the green. It can't interfere with the ball on and on. But we also have other ones that we do put the sign in. When I was there that day, Chad gave us a sign that stuck in and you put it where it was. And so what I used, nobody's that close. I was like, look at that sign. I don't even think they're 20 feet. And they're like, oh, I can get inside of that. But we do both.
Yeah, I'm going to do the sign with it, but I'm going to put the measuring tape with the sign off the green and then make them, and I'll write the distance so that they do it when they're up there.
Yes.
And that way,
and
then
make
they'll
sure,
take it off.
you know what I told everybody too, Rich? Write your name and phone number because you're going to have somebody out there at 7:30 in the morning and you have somebody out there at 3 o'clock in the afternoon or 2 in the afternoon. That other person's way gone. So we just say, write your name and phone number down. Then when I went into the pro shop, I buy the gift certificate. It was $200 and something. We raised over $2,000, just wham. And so it was a great KP. And then we call them, we text them, we let them know it's in the pro shop. The pro shop puts it in an envelope with their name on it. They go back into that golf course, pick it up, and spend it at the golf course.
Perfect.
Two things. If you can get your own close to the pin, it just eliminates another thing that you have to get from the golf course.
True.
Mine will
Good
be
point.
here tomorrow,
And-
Chris.
And another thing, I always put a tape measure and I put my close to the pin off the green. Because if
Yeah.
the first group comes up and they knock it within 6 inches, it ruins. People don't want to participate because they're like, well, I can't do that.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not, even if you
Yeah.
know what the distance is, I don't know. I haven't gone down there and checked the board.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree.
Great
I
point.
agree.
Totally
Great
with
point. And this is the tracking sheet, you guys. So just you have their name, their email, their phone number, because somebody's got Cancun, right? And I put a C for Cancun, or I put SP for the savings pass. Then I know I've got $100 donations or $50 donations, and this is what I track it on. So I wanted to show you that just to make sure you're tracking it, because you don't need a separate sheet for Cancun. Use the same one for the savings pass, and just on the far right, put SP savings pass or C for Cancun. And at the end of the day, like in a couple hours, we had 14 Cancun, 7 savings passes. Real simple to track. You had 21 names on there, and it's quick and simple.
Yeah.
And one other thing, you want to be really careful. This is going to Cancun. So now John Doe thinks he won. But if you have him write his name and email and you can't read it, or you can't read that phone number because he has sloppy writing, we have no way of, he's going to complain later, but we have no way of calling him. We have no way of emailing him. So write it for him, like in capital letters, print, and just make sure you can read it. Because if you can't, Cancun can't, we can't, and we can't email them. So just print super legibly. And that's all. That's the only thing. Because when we first started out, I remember looking back, and you may have 20 of these. You think, oh my, and the people would write. You think, what are those for? Nobody in the world could read that. We're all guessing, and we couldn't read it. So I just wanted to point that out to make sure after the fact, we need to be able to follow through.
Okay. I've got a 36 hole facility that I've been lucky enough to get. So, and it won't be till August, but it was a officer killed, and I've been talking to his dad, who this will be the 22nd year. They love what we do already, and this will be the first time we've done it. But one golf course is full of nothing but police officers.
Nice.
And he said you ought to see it when they leave, because the parking lot it's a line of police cruisers, But he said they don't have $50 to donate to get the savings pass. So I'm going to have to turn that into a competition for sure for them.
Yeah.
So at least one of them gets it. But however, with the Cancun trip, maybe that's something that a police officer can afford, because he may say, wait a minute, I'll take my wife on that deal. But if he does want the savings pass, I mean, I know it's not going to make the charity much more money, but in that case, if I took 25, I mean, I could still give him the pass, right?
Yeah. You know what, Rich? I'll tell you what, I've done a lot of police events, a ton of them, sheriff events, police events, a ton of them, fallen officers. And I've been there. And you create a contest like we do at a charity event, and they're donating 20 or $25 each. Well, they donate no different than people that are crazy wealthy.
Right.
Your numbers, you'd be shocked. They're like, oh my gosh, one of them's going to get Cancun. You're still going to have super high percentage.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I think when you get into somebody donating 100 each, that's different. Then one of us is going to win. This is fun. They're partying. It's for their cause. And it's $25 each, or you want to break it down to a savings pass. I think you're going to see the overwhelming majority still do it.
And when I showed him the Hero Driver, just the picture, now that I have one in my hand, I can show him. He was so excited about that alone, and that to do that for the auction. That's how I got the banquet. And he hasn't even seen it in person yet.
Nice.
So when we do that, and he thinks the trip, that's how we're going to do the banquet, the live auction with those two things. He thinks a lot of them will step up on that. You know, it remains to be seen, but he's just so worried about them not being able to contribute because they'll be on that one side, one golf course, and they had to put 6 more teams of police on the public side of the outing. So, yeah, I'm glad I got that one for sure.
That sounds like a good time.
Yeah,
I'd love to be there for that one. Sounds
Yep,
like a great time.
Yeah, it's a good
Hey,
one.
Jay, can I add something about the paperwork really quick?
Please.
I know we were talking about the handwriting and handwriting everything in, and we're all humans, so we all make mistakes. But one thing I have always told my teams, and I know Chris tells his team, if you take a picture, or if you have your golfers take a picture of the FAQ sheet, they have a phone number and an email that they can contact somebody to, you know, so they can actually go on there and contact us if they don't get, you know, a call within the next 10 days from Cancun. So I just always say, hey, please take a picture of this sheet with your phone just so you have it. That way you're covering all your bases. So I just wanted to mention that because I know we all make mistakes. Sometimes I can't even read my own gosh darn handwriting. So just wanted to say that in there too.
You know what, Leslie, what a great point, because when they do that, you should always, they come up and they'll take a picture of like this page and this page. Well, you're right. They have our contact information. They have the ability to even know Cancun, their information on contacting. So do that. And it's also good because then there's no misunderstanding, right? Well, I thought it'd include airfare when we clearly explained that it's the stay and it's amazing. It's 5 days and 4 nights. It's valued up to $2,800, but you fly there, you pay for your own airfare. So have them take these pictures. They have our information. That is so correct, Leslie. Thank you for sharing that, because we do that. And I'll tell you another thing that's really important. If you don't have this sitting on your table showing these 5 resorts, big difference. You're going to Cancun. Where? Is it on the water? How do I know it's nice? They walk up and see these and they know the names. They can pull them up on their phone. They're staring at the resorts. They realize, oh my gosh, this is the real deal. So good point. Anybody else have something to add on this? Okay. I want to kind of go through one more thing. I think everybody's different in the way they learn. Tommy Hopkins was a family friend back in my former business. You go back to the 90s, he helped me write my entire manual for my company. Tommy Hopkins was one of the best corporate and sales trainers, The Art of Selling, which was #1 seller in our country back in that era. Worldwide, he was absolutely amazing. But what he drilled into me was, once you teach somebody what they should know, just like when I was learning from him, teach them again. And once you teach them again, what should you do? Teach them again. And what should happen? You should then role play. And if you do it enough, what happens to that person? Initially, you're competent as you think. You're incompetent in certain areas. Later, as you learn it and you learn it and you practice it and you learn it and you practice it, you become unconsciously competent. That's when you're great at what you do. Those are the difference makers. People might close the 7 out of 10 places they go to, but somebody that's unconsciously competent is going to close the other 3. And that's where we want to be. We want to build relationships and really, truly, intimately understand what our company has. And we can explain it, and we can listen, and we can genuinely care and walk them through it. So to end this call, I just want to go one more time how we present, because it's important. And I'm going to redo that training video because it didn't talk about the competition. So when somebody pulled up to our deal real quick, minute segment here, they pull up near a foursome. It's Rich's segment because, Rich, I see you right here. And so Rich's foursome pulls up. Hey guys, how you doing? How was that last hole? I heard you cheer. Yeah, I got a birdie. On and on. Well, fantastic. Well, hey, I'm here with the Hero Program. I'm sure you've probably heard of it. We're nationwide. We're the number one supporter of our veterans initially, and then we added first responders in the entire country at golf courses. And so what we're doing here today, Rhodes Ranch is a hero golf course. They want to support our veterans and our first responders. So you're in a hole in one. If you make that hole in one, it's $1,000. You're in a closest to the pin contest. It's going to be worth, 10% of what we raise. It's going to be worth from $100 to several $100s, depending on what we raise today. And so whoever wins that, put your name and phone number on there. We'll call you another gift certificate to the golf course for that value. And I want to tell you what we do for our veterans. Our Hero Program supports our veterans with service dogs. We support them with retreats to prevent suicide, and kind of go through all of those different things, from the retreats to the service dogs to PTSD to prevent suicide, and go through the stats. Once I go to that, I turn to that one stat and I want to emotionally tie them. And I turn and say, you know what, guys? The most compelling stat, and the reason we started all of this, is because we've lost 5,200, and I have it on my table and they can see it. We've lost 5,200 in action, but over 130,000 the last 20 years. Stat shows 128,000 to suicide. Very sad situation. We need to help. That's why we're all here. And I tell them exactly that. You're afforded this because of the sacrifices made to protect your freedom and mine. And so, you know what we have today? You're in all these no matter what. But we're here to raise money for those people that have sacrificed so much. And we have a contest. This is the way it's going to work. It's only $25 each. You can pay it in any form you want. Mention what you carry. If you have Venmo, tell them Venmo. If you have credit card, Swiper, Square, whatever, go through the ways, cash, that you'll take that form of payment. So if all four of you do it, we need $25 each. It's only $100 total. Our service dogs are $35,000. And so what we're going to do for that is you're going to be in a contest. In this contest, all four of you are going to hit from your appropriate tee box. You don't have to change your tee boxes. Whoever comes the closest, whether you hit the green or not, you're going to win a trip to Cancun, and I show it to them, that's valued up to $2,800, depending on what time of year you go. It's amazing. You have 5 different resorts that are 4 and 5 star you can pick from. You have a year to book it. There's no blackout dates. There's not even gosh, I'm losing my train of thought a little bit. What do you call that? When timeshare. There's not even a timeshare presentation that you have to go to. It's absolutely amazing. We did over 5,000 of these last year. So again, it's just $25 each. Let's see who wins the Cancun. They come up and pay you. Now they all hit. One of them celebrating. They're yelling. You're taking down their name, their phone number. They won the trip to Cancun. Then you turn around and other people are going to walk over and say, I want to go too. That's how you're going to move from $100 to $200, $300, $400, depending on the groups. But that's the presentation. If you can get good at laying out who we are, the contests are in no matter what, the golf course is supporting it. That's why you have the hole in one in the KP. This is what the money goes to. It goes to, the service dogs, the retreats, the PTSD, even helping if somebody falls in the line of duty. Outline the key ones that you think are most important. Go through the compelling stat of suicide, and then get into, we're going to have a contest. And this is the way it works. And I know we're all competitive. We're golfers. Lay that out. It'll change everything. You will raise significantly larger amounts out on that tee box because of going through it that way. So any questions there or anything else I can help cover a final time for today?
Hi, Jay, this is Eric. I got a quick question.
Yes, please.
Is that effective as of we speak? Because I got a hero day Sunday.
I would never do one again a different way. You know what? We've gone out and we've raised thousands of dollars and had great hero days and you get lucky and one guy walks up and says, my son's serving right now, here's $1,000. That still stays in play. But I'll tell you what, person after person, average nationwide, what we get per group, this tripled it. It changed everything. So yes, I would never do it another way again and say, hey, and here's the deal, and any and all donations help us. And we're here to raise as much as we possibly can. So you're not eliminating that guy, that man, that lady that walks up and says, I do XYZ for the military. I'm retired. My son's in. Here's $500. Here's $1,000. You're not eliminating that. What you're doing is you're taking those groups. If you have 100 golfers and they're all foursomes, that's 25 groups. Instead of getting $30 times 25 groups and run those numbers out, you're going to raise, what is that? Off the top of my head, 30, whatever you're raising, $600. You're now, if you get 25 groups and it's $100 each, that's 2,500. You're changing dramatically your average per group while maintaining the upside of so much more. So yes, Eric, do it this way. And as we learn and grow and we get on another call and somebody else tried something different and it works better, then that's what we'll do. So it's just really sharing. That's what I love about this. It's not whether Eric or Leslie or Chris Gallagher or I or whoever does this. It's finding out what works best, sharing it with everybody nationwide. And now not only are we doubling and tripling your income for the day, we're doubling or tripling the amount of money that goes to the golf course, for KPs, for the thank you, the relationship, and most importantly, how we pay for prosthetics, service dogs, retreats, and on and on. So yes, definitely do this. I'll tell you what, it was so much more fun. If Eric, if I pull up in your foursome and you tell me we have a contest today, I know you guys are competitive. This is the way it works. There is 0% chance I don't pay you. If I care about your cause and you say to me, hey, we've got Cancun Savings Pass like we used to, I might give you $10. If I care about it, I might give you 50 or 100. But most people are going to think, I'm helping you. Here's $10. Here's $5. Here's $20. If you break this down 100 for the group, you're going to raise significantly larger amounts. People are going to be more appreciative. You know what happened when I went into Chad? Take 14 times $2,800. What did we give his players that day? He's like, you got to be kidding me. You gave them what? Savings passes. What's that value? You gave my players that? They're all in a free hole in one. You raised this for our veterans? He's hugging me. I don't even know the guy. This monster guy's like, brother, hugging me. And he was a veteran. So yes, do this, run with it this way. It's the best way to date we found how to do it. Any other questions?
Thank you, Jay. Great meeting.
Yeah, absolutely. I just a quick thing that I did today when I went to go take that driver. I took the driver with me and I was holding in my hand to show the pro that I'm doing hero days at. And I said, yeah, first time I'm going to hit it. Check this out. And he loved it. And then this gentleman comes over. He goes, that's the crank driver DeChambeau used? I said, yeah, pretty much, except for this is a hero program. So we have this on there. And he says, I got to go, but I want to, I'll get the guy, your number from the pro, because I want to buy one. So
love it.
Just because I had it in my hand and he saw the crank on the head cover, which is really a cool head cover. I'm going to make a sale of a driver, so.
It's because you said that, Rich. That's so smart. I was at a hero day at Canyon Lake. A good friend of mine's the general manager there. And I'm doing a hero day on a par 3. So I took that hero driver that looked so cool. I just laid it on my table with everything else. I had a husband and wife pull up. He was a veteran. He goes, you got to be kidding me. I go, oh, it holds the world record at every swing speed. It's handmade. I told him the technology. He bought it on a par 3, never hit it for both he and his wife, just because they saw it. He goes, he looked at it and saw that flag. Does part of the proceeds go to supporting our veterans? Yes, it does. We made it for our hero program. It's the best driver we ever made. And now we can say, and DeChambeau plays it. Great idea, Rich. People want it just because of the way it looks. And then, of course, when they play it, it's going to outperform a cast driver for sure. Great point.
Can't wait to
Hey,
play with
guys.
Sunday.
Yes, you know what? Thank you for being on this call. I just love this. We have an opportunity, all of us, that's endless. We didn't even talk about how we fundraise year round for all these causes, also digitally. We'll get to that next week. I really want to get into how are we white labeling? How are we maximizing revenue with our presentations on each program at a charity event? What are we doing at the banquet? How do we book tournaments? What videos should we watch? So instead of hero building it, next week we're going to get into, let's talk about the charity golf tournaments and how we can maximize that revenue. So thank you very much. It's recorded. It'll go out to everybody, and I really appreciate everybody's participation. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Jay.
You bet. Have a
Thank
great
you.
day, team.